The rebuild of Sheffield Wednesday may ultimately be shaped by decisions made in the boardroom, but inside the dressing room, one name is already influencing what comes next: Liam Cooper. He didn't arrive with the fanfare of a marquee signing. He joined quietly in November as a free agent, at a time when the club was already drifting towards one of the darkest periods in its history. Administration followed in October 2025, relegation soon after, and a sense that everything stable had been stripped away. In the middle of that, Cooper became something rare, a point of stability. On paper, the numbers don't stand out. 14 appearances, 1 goal. But that doesn't tell the real story. Cooper brought organisation to a defensive line that had been under constant pressure, and just as importantly, he brought leadership. A former Leeds United captain, he knows how to organise, how to demand standards, and how to steady a side when confidence drops. Those qualities don't always show up in stats, but in a struggling team, they can make all the difference. What makes his situation particularly interesting now is the timing. As the club waits for the EFL to approve the takeover led by David Storch, planning for next season is already taking place behind the scenes. According to Joe Cran of the Wednesday Word, there's a clear intention from the incoming ownership to keep Cooper at the club. This isn't a short-term decision based on availability, it's a strategic call centered on leadership. His current deal runs out at the end of the season, so nothing is guaranteed. Any extension would need to be a deliberate choice, part of a wider plan, and that's exactly how he's being viewed. Not just as a centre-back for a League One campaign, but as someone who can help set the standards for the next phase. There's even discussion of a longer-term pathway into coaching, positioning him as a bridge between the current squad and the club's future identity. That approach suggests a shift in thinking. Relegated clubs often fall into short-term fixes, quick signings, constant changes, and a cycle of reset. What's emerging here feels different. There's a focus on continuity, on keeping people who carry culture as well as performance. Cooper fits that model because his influence goes beyond what he does on the pitch. There's also a psychological factor. After a period of instability under previous ownership, players and staff need figures they can rely on. Someone who's been through pressure, who understands how to navigate it. Cooper has led teams in high-stakes environments, rivalries, promotion pushes, and that experience becomes even more valuable in League One, where mentality often matters as much as quality. From a broader perspective, his presence also aligns with the identity the club seems to be rebuilding. There's a clear move towards authenticity, reconnecting with football culture and values that supporters recognise. Cooper represents that grounded, no-nonsense profile fans tend to trust, especially after a period where faith in leadership was damaged. Keeping him wouldn't just be a football decision, it would send a message about the kind of characters the club wants to build around. Of course, uncertainty remains. Until the takeover is formally approved, nothing can be finalised. Plans can be made, discussions can happen, but no contracts are binding. That leaves Cooper's future open. Even if the intention to keep him is strong, timing will be key. The longer the process takes, the more complicated things could become, particularly if other clubs become aware of his availability. But if everything moves forward as expected, the decision around Liam Cooper could be one of the first real signals of a new era. Not a headline signing, not a flashy move, but a deliberate step towards leadership and continuity. And often, it's those decisions that define whether a rebuild succeeds or fails. So the question for supporters is simple. Is Liam Cooper the right figure to anchor Sheffield Wednesday in League One, and more importantly, to help shape what comes next? Because if the club rises again, if stability returns and identity is rebuilt, his impact may be remembered not for numbers, but for the foundation he helped restore when everything else was falling apart.